Twitter CEO Elon Musk says he will not restore the account of so-called Sandy Hook truther Alex Jones. This despite reinstating a cast of once banned high-profile accounts in the past week, including those of former President Trump, Kanye West, and Jordan Peterson. In a tweet justifying the decision, Musk wrote, "My firstborn child died in my arms. I felt his last heartbeat. I have no mercy for anyone who would use the deaths of children for gain, politics, or fame."
Yesterday, Dr. Peter McCullough was trending as users pressured the chief twit to bring the famed mRNA researcher back after his account was banned for spreading alleged vaccine misinformation. Townhall.com's Scott Moorfield tweeted, "Dr. McCullough and many more still being banned for not being wrong, but for being right before the world was ready. Why are they still being silenced on this platform?" According to independent writer Caitlin Johnson, Musk has yet to actually bring free speech back to Twitter as promised. In a recent op-ed, Johnson said, quote, "Reinstating a handful of celebrities has no meaningful effect on the free expression of normal people. Speech is not becoming any freer on Twitter in any way that actually matters, and from all appearances, it's still functioning as a narrative control tool for the most powerful empire that has ever existed." I don't know that I totally agree with that, but I do get the point that we're being a little bit arbitrary. It looks to me like who's coming back and who's not, which maybe that's the point. Maybe it's just this is not a democracy. This is a Elon monarchy, and he's just going to decide who gets to come back or not based on what seems like very personal reasons. He was saying that he would not allow Alex Jones back because he's had the experience of having lost a child. I mean, of course, there are people who've had the experience of losing a child because of, like, the president's drones and war-making policies. So it's that, but Donald Trump's back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is exactly the reason why the commentary that this is not in any way an expansion of free speech is completely right. The very complaint that people had legitimately of Twitter before was that there was no consistency or transparency in the decisions that were being made about who was banned and
now
who
there's
wasn't.
transparency, but not consistency.
Well, and there isn't mostly transparency. Mostly it has to do with his independent, random proclivities, thoughts, and feelings in Twitter polls. And one big account online, she's not associated with anything, but she's a big kind of poster, shoe on head, made this point that this tweet, this admission from Elon Musk that the decision to not admit Alex Jones, the fact that he admits that it's entirely due to his personal experience of the tragedy of his own child's death, is an admission that it's just whatever Elon Musk wants, whatever Elon Musk
It is
thinks.
whatever Elon Musk wants.
That's a problem for people who actually have an investment in the free speech interest of those who don't happen to align with whatever Elon Musk has to say.
I think it's in some ways refreshingly honest. It's his company and the rules are going to be whatever he wants, and that's how it always was. But it was more confusing and it was unclear and we didn't know. I think there's a better justification he could have made, to be clear, for keeping Alex Jones off the platform but allowing some of these other people back, in that Alex Jones is the subject of a massive lawsuit. There are perhaps liability concerns for letting Alex Jones back on, given the volume of his mistruths and how they've been adjudicated and actually have monetary damages.
Right, but not for the platform unless we're getting rid of Section 230 all of a sudden. The point is, Alex Jones this is not me advocating for one position or another, but it's obviously inconsistent. Kanye West did a number of things that exposed him and it caused him to have a lot of financial consequences to pay. Donald Trump obviously is being accused of provoking an insurrection and is being investigated as a consequence. You can't look at those figures, let them back on the platform, and look at Alex Jones and say, because I happen to have experienced a loss that makes me antagonistic to you and what you've done, I'm not going to let you on the platform. That is not free speech. You can say what you want about how it's refreshingly open.
Speech.
It has nothing to do with what everybody was saying they cared so much about with Twitter, which is free speech. And what happens?
And what Elon said he cared about.
And like, I don't know. I read an interesting piece about how what Elon is encountering. There was another piece of news about how he is basically halting his verification plan, right? There was a lot of controversy over the past couple of weeks because he enabled anybody to pay $8 to get a verification blue check, seemingly misunderstanding the point of the blue check, which, although over time it has acquired a certain kind of value and status, it's about identifying who you are, saying, like, my name is Brianna Joy Gray on Twitter, I am in fact Brianna Joy Gray in real life. It wasn't actually about status. He implemented this program, everyone started imitating everybody. He got very upset because a lot of people had fake Elon Musk accounts. And now he's reverted back to the mean. And what people have observed is we're going to keep seeing this happening. Elon Musk uprooting the policies that were already in effect and then ending up going back to what they were before he became CEO, because those policies were there for a reason. And these are some legitimately difficult questions that people have to wrestle with and figure out. And that's not to say that they couldn't be improved upon and don't need to be improved upon. Elon Musk doesn't have the capacity to improve upon them, but randomly blowing everything up is going to cause him to get egg on his face and frequently have to retrace his steps and land exactly where the previous CEO was.
I think that's true with some of the moderation decisions, but everyone, a few days ago was talking about, this is the end of Twitter. I don't know if you saw that. It's about to go down. It's falling apart. He got rid of too many employees and seems to be running fine. I don't think it's going to suddenly disappear. I think it will end up ultimately being the case that it didn't need as many, there was too many cooks in the kitchen and it can run fine without them, and it's not going anywhere. And he claims that users and engagement and all that is way up. Anecdotally, that seems to be the case with my own tweets.
Right, but he doesn't make money off of users, and that's the fundamental issue. In fact, he understands that.
Well, he's trying to make money off users.
Well, he understands that because when he was buying the company and trying to get out of buying the company, part of the reason, that the excuse that he offered, the rationale, I should say, rather, that he offered, was because he wanted to have a subscription model, and finding out that so many of the users were, in fact, not real people, but bots, meant that there weren't enough real people to pay for the model that would make it profitable. That being the case, now he's bought the site that may or may not still be true, and he has to rely on advertisers, and advertisers have been fleeing. And there was a good write-up, I think, in the New York Times about this. What they're saying is they pay for ads, and they're seeing it next to a surge in hate content. So yes, Twitter usership has been up, but if you're someone who's just trying to sell free frame, art.com or whatever, and get people's art framed, you're not going to want to go be viewed in a stream next to somebody's hate tweet or porn or any of these other kinds of things.
Well, the porn was there before. It was always
right, but it's
there.
About the algorithm and people making sure that the advertisements aren't sharing space with those kinds of posts. And people are saying it's losing them money. I mean, that's from the mouths of advertisers. So again, Elon Musk is going to have to realize that the thing that he's up against the most isn't some ideologue in the White House, some Democrat who just hates him because they have different politics. It's the advertisers, because money talks. That's what all of this is about.
Yeah, I don't know if that's totally true. I mean, he might face pressure, and all of these companies have faced massive pressure to delete specific accounts at the behest of the White House, the CDC, and the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, I think so. But Elon Musk has shown a willingness to let those people back on. God bless him. But it's not going to earn him money. It's not going to make his site more profitable. Because ultimately, the thing that he should be concerned about, and I think he is concerned about, having made a $44 billion investment, and his Tesla investment having tanked enormously as he has to draw from that company to help keep Twitter afloat, is whether or not he can get the main economic support for the website attracted back to the website, so that $44 billion investment doesn't become one of the biggest economic sinkholes in entrepreneurial history.
I mean, I don't think we should count him out yet. He is a smart businessman. He seems eccentric. His habits of responding to every single person on Twitter are interesting and kind of crazy, but
look, I'll be impressed, and I'll consider him. I'm not interested in him being a smart businessman, which I think is very much a dispute. Him having basically used his family wealth to buy Tesla and not having been, he's not attributed. None of the innovations that make the car company good are attributed to him or his personal intellect. But he can demonstrate his ability not just to be a good businessman, but someone who is thoughtful about these important speech issues that he said he cared about.
What he did with SpaceX is pretty impressive.
By actually digging in and trying to work through what is difficult. Smart people thinking very hard have struggled with the question of how to handle content moderation for years. And I think what is most disturbing is that you can be as smart as you want, but if you're so hubristic that you think that the thousands of people employed by a company, the First Amendment lawyers, the scholars, the random people, the users who have been struggling with how to make this platform better, haven't come up with solutions, and that you're going to, in the blink of an eye, say laissez-faire, free speech absolutism is going to resolve the issue, then
but he's not actually saying free speech absolutism, because he just said he's not going to bring Alex Jones back, right? He's coming up with his own policy, but it could be better than what they came up with, because what they had was very bad.
And he's having to walk a lot of stuff back, and I think that he's going to have to walk a lot of the readmissions to the platform back, depending on what happens and what happens with advertisers in particular.
More Rising right after this. Stay with us.